These ladies, and I'm a WNBA fan,
It's been a good season.
They cannot have fucked this Caitlin Clark thing up any worse if they tried.
Charles Barkley didn't hold back, delivering a harsh dose of truth to Angel Reese and others after the WNBA's investigation found no evidence of fan misconduct or racial slurs at the Fever game. Some of these players need to stop being jealous and start being grateful for what Caitlin Clark is doing for this league. Barkley fired back. His words hit a nerve and raised a much bigger question. Why are so many players attacking Clark when she's the one injecting energy, money, and national attention into the league? Let's unpack the controversy and Barkley's scorching response.
If you got people in a room,
Yeah.
If you got a bunch of dudes in a room and says, let's fuck up the WNBA, we couldn't have came up a master plan what these women have done.
Charles Barkley didn't hold back when the WNBA launched an investigation into alleged fan misconduct and racial discrimination at the Indiana Fever's season opener. "I don't think this helps the league at all," he said, his tone laced with frustration. Barkley immediately cast doubt on the allegations, calling them a distraction from what should have been a historic and celebratory moment, Caitlin Clark's triple-double and the Fever's dominant win.
So it's just petty jealousy, and it's really unfortunate because, and the thing that's really bad right now, we're not even talking about basketball. That's the problem that I have with the whole thing.
To Barkley, the accusations were nothing but distracting noise pulling focus away from the league's progress, and he didn't hesitate to make his stance known. The investigation, launched right after the Fever's commanding 93-58 victory over the Chicago Sky, was meant to address claims that Indiana fans had hurled discriminatory remarks at Angel Reese. On paper, it sounded serious, but Barkley wasn't convinced. "Where's the proof?" he asked pointedly. "You've got a phenomenal start to the season, and this is what we're focusing on?"
But we're not, what's bad, instead of talking about all the good things happening for the WNBA, we're talking about negativity. And all publicity, that used to be that old saying, all publicity is good publicity. No, it's not. Not when you're a niche sport trying to get the consumers to buy into your product.
Barkley's skepticism made one thing crystal clear. He believed the controversy had more to do with resentment than reality. His criticism wasn't just aimed at the investigation itself, but also at players like Angel Reese, who he implied were stirring up drama instead of embracing the league's newfound momentum. At the heart of Barkley's fiery response was his staunch defense of Caitlin Clark, who has rapidly become one of the most talked about and impactful figures in the WNBA.
Petty jealousy, and it's really unfortunate because what she's done for the game, listen, I believe in Ricky Hazen, but some of the criticism has gotten overboard.
During the segment, Barkley didn't just voice opinions. He brought receipts. He highlighted how Caitlin Clark's rise led to a jaw-dropping 400% spike in draft viewership and a 93% increase in ticket sales. "Those kind of numbers, that's like Steph Curry in the NBA," Barkley said, drawing a powerful parallel. He explained that just as Curry revolutionized the NBA and elevated the league as a whole, Clark is doing the same for the WNBA. "Steph didn't make people jealous. He made people money," Barkley snapped, making it clear that resentment toward Clark is not only misplaced but counterproductive.
The girls got to grow up and you know what? I can go at her hard on the basketball court, but the visibility and stuff she's bringing to the league is going to fill all our wallets up in the long run.
To Barkley, Caitlin Clark wasn't just a rising star. She was a turning point for the WNBA, a golden opportunity that could elevate the league if handled right. But then things got heated. Barkley didn't stop at praising her impact. He went straight for the root of the backlash: jealousy. "There's some petty jealousness going on here," he said, his tone sharp and almost mocking. Instead of viewing Clark as a threat, he argued players should be saying, "Thank you, Caitlin Clark, for showing up and getting the world to care about us." His frustration was unmistakable, and he made it clear that the league's future depends on embracing progress. not resisting it.
But the stuff toward her is petty and jealous. And the thing I love about her, she never says a word. But there's been so much negativity, and a lot of it is just petty jealousness.
To Barkley, this wasn't just about unfounded allegations. It exposed a deeper problem within the league. Players tearing each other down instead of building something greater together. Rather than rallying around Caitlin Clark's transformative impact, some seemed determined to twist the narrative. Barkley's frustration went beyond the claims themselves. He was angry that the WNBA let this controversy eclipse what should have been a landmark moment: the Fever's dominant opener and Clark's historic triple-double.
Well, like I say, it's just a lot of petty jealousy out there, and it's really unfortunate, taken away from the women's game. Because no matter what sport, if you're talking more about something other than the sport, so anything, this is just taken away from the game, in my opinion.
Moments that should have marked a triumphant start to the season were instead overshadowed by a cloud of needless controversy. This league's got enough problems without players turning on each other, Barkley said, shaking his head in disbelief. His frustration boiled down to one pointed question: what's the message to fans? That we'd rather focus on improving drama than what's actually happening on the court?
Just as suspected. Nothing. And that other fan base, the old fan base, came after the Fever players, Fever fans.
By the end of his takedown, Barkley's stance was unwavering. Some of these players, he said, pausing with intent, need to stop being jealous and start being grateful. Caitlin Clark, he argued, is doing what most of them haven't, drawing national attention to the league. His bluntness wasn't just for shock value. It captured the growing frustration among fans and commentators who are tired of the infighting and want the WNBA to focus on progress, not pettiness. With the investigation's findings confirming there was no misconduct, Barkley made one thing clear: his loyalty lies with the future of the league. And right now, that future looks a lot like Caitlin Clark.
So it's really unfortunate, and it's just, and I like the way she's handling. She hasn't said anything, because you got so many fools out here who got opinion, unfortunately, a negative opinion on television, on radio, and things like that. So I'm glad she's staying above the fray.
WNBA investigation is over, and the results couldn't be more straightforward. No evidence was found to support the claims of fan misconduct or racial discrimination during the Indiana Fever's season opener. After extensive interviews with fans and arena staff and a review of game footage, the league concluded that the accusations against Fever fans were completely baseless. For many, this wasn't just vindication. It was a clear win, especially for those who felt wrongfully accused. And let's be honest, those who cried racism just took a major L. But the league took one too. Despite clearing the fans, the WNBA offered no apology. Nothing. Not even a single sentence acknowledging the harm caused by its own premature reaction. When the investigation was first launched, it sparked a media frenzy. The allegations suggested that Indiana fans had directed racist behavior at Angel Reese, and the WNBA's immediate announcement poured gasoline on the fire. Fever fans were outraged, and rightly so. They were vilified publicly with zero evidence. The spotlight that should have been on Caitlin Clark's triple-double and the Fever's strong performance was hijacked by controversy.
And you old fans, you ones accusing us of racism and all that, y'all just took an L, and a big one. However, the league is also taking a big L because there's no apologies to any fan whatsoever on this totally BS statement released by the WNBA.
And when the investigation proved what Indiana fans had insisted all along, that nothing happened, the league didn't apologize or take responsibility for the mess it created. Just silence. Deafening silence. Instead, they issued a generic statement saying the claims weren't substantiated, as if that erases the damage. Fever fans weren't just cleared, they were smeared for a full week, their reputation dragged through the mud. Yet the WNBA refused to make amends. That silence stung. Instead, they try to save face with a canned line about creating a safe and inclusive environment. Where's the accountability? Where's the apology to the fans who were falsely labeled? The lack of remorse had fans questioning whether the league even values them at all. Many Indiana supporters felt betrayed. Some even considered boycotting other WNBA games. The controversy split the fan base just when the league should have been celebrating one of the most hyped seasons in its history. And let's not forget, the WNBA has never turned a profit. Yet it chose to alienate the very fans who are finally bringing in money. The Indiana Fever organization isn't blameless here either. Their silence was complicity, and Charles Barkley wasn't having it. He called out the WNBA's mishandling early on and doubled down when the investigation confirmed what he suspected. The league let baseless accusations dominate the narrative and failed to protect its fans. Barkley even hinted that fans outside Indiana might start boycotting the entire league, and judging by the ratings, some already are. To him, this wasn't just about drama, it was about priorities. You've got Caitlin Clark turning the league into must-watch TV, and this is what you focus on? He asked, clearly frustrated. He noted how some older fans and players seemed threatened by the influx of mainstream attention Clark was bringing in. "We're here now," he said, "and we're not staying quiet." The bigger issue Barkley highlighted? The WNBA's inability to manage its own narrative. Instead of riding the wave Clark created, the league let jealousy and division cloud the moment. The investigation's conclusion validated everything Barkley had been saying. Indiana fans were unfairly vilified, and the fallout led to an explosion of hate and division. His call to focus on opportunity instead of petty rivalries rang louder than ever. It's time to stop tearing each other down and start building something together. Because let's face it, fans like Barkley are investing. They're buying league passes, merch, and tickets. They're funding this growth. So why is Caitlin Clark, the face of that growth, being attacked? That's the question Barkley has been shouting from the rooftops. And the numbers prove him right. The WNBA saw a 180% increase in regular season viewership, a 400% jump in draft ratings, and ticket sales up by 93%. That's not growth. It's an explosion. And it's all thanks to Caitlin Clark. People say she moves the needle. Barkley says she is the needle. On and off the court, she's rewriting the script for women's basketball. Yet the league seems uncertain about how to handle it. Barkley's warning is clear. This kind of attention is rare. The WNBA has long struggled with low ratings, poor media coverage, and slow ticket sales. Then Clark arrives, and suddenly the league is everywhere. News channels, social media, packed arenas. People who've never watched a WNBA game are tuning in because of her. She's not just a great player, Barkley said. She's a superstar doing what nobody else could. That's the real reason for the backlash. Some players have spent years trying to elevate the league, and now they're watching a rookie become the center of attention. Barkley doesn't dismiss their frustration, but he does challenge it. This isn't about being overshadowed. It's about realizing Clark lifts everyone. When Steph Curry transformed the NBA with his three-point game, other players didn't resent him. They benefited from the rising tide, bigger contracts, higher ratings, better opportunities. Caitlin Clark is doing the same for the WNBA. Barkley sees her as a once-in-a-generation force the league can't afford to ignore. Let's do the math. From 2022 to 2023, WNBA viewership grew by 40%. With Clark, it jumped 400%. Without her, it would have taken until 2028 to reach those numbers. Same with ticket sales, up just 16% in 2023, now up 93% in 2024. Without Clark, that growth would have taken until 2030. She fast-tracked 5 years of progress in 5 weeks. Sponsorships are pouring in. Media coverage is unprecedented. Casual fans know her name. That's not just impressive, it's historic. Even in places like Dallas, where big names rarely play, fans are realizing how epic it is to see her in person. That's the kind of buzz leagues dream of. And Barkley is right. More attention on Clark means more attention on everyone. More fans. More money. More respect. But instead of embracing it, some inside the league are sabotaging their own success. Barkley called it what it is, self-sabotage. These players should be rallying behind her, not tearing her down. Caitlin Clark is giving them the platform they've fought for. They should be figuring out how to share the spotlight, not block it. Regular season viewership grew by 20% in 2023. Now it's up 180%. That's 6 years of growth in one season. The WNBA must decide. Will it ride this wave or let drama kill the momentum? Barkley's answer is simple: unity. Clark isn't a threat. She's the best thing that's ever happened to this league.